Okay, so let's take this like till here it's fine. So after that, let's go again to our model structure. So in our model structure here, so with the inputs of different x, x1, x2, so on, we would like to get a probability here of the class, right? So where y value should be within 0 to 1, because it's a probability as I told in last class, right? So we should ensure that our like our y value is 0 to 1. So if you take y as like theta naught plus theta 1 x, so with this, are we going to get 0 to 1 here? So it depends, right? Like your theta may be zero point 0.1, a theta 1 maybe zero point 0.2 or something. It again depends on x, like how much your maybe x is 100. Let's say your x is 100. So zero point 0.1 plus zero point 0.2 into 100. This is not within 0 to 1, right? So this is not sufficient at all. We can't restrict our x like to be within this or something like this. So we should always ensure our 0 to 1, our y value should go between 0 to 1. So what we should be doing is like we have to add some kind of manipulation to this so that it comes between 0 to 1. So to make y value in the range 0 to 1, we convert y value to probability. So how we can do it like this is, so let's say your y is now currently theta x, right? So theta transpose x or x theta, it can be represented in both ways. So this what we are doing is, we are instead of directly having y as like this, we add a function, something like g. Okay, so that function should actually change your value here, which was like maybe it can vary from minus infinity to infinity, any value, okay, some 10,000, 20,000, minus 10,000, something. But your final value should be like within 0 to 1. We have to get it that way. So how we can do it is, this value will be, sorry, let me do, so 1 by e power minus theta transpose x. This is what we finally use for y instead of directly using this. Okay, so this actually will give you like, let me plot that graph and show you what it is. So if you take just x by 1 plus x, this will always be less than, we can't say if it is less, if it is positive number, okay, let's say this is positive number, then this is always be less than 1. If you take like 2 by 2 plus 1 plus 3, 1 plus 3 is 2 by 3, is always less than 1. If you take 100 by 101, this is also less than 1. Okay, so this is always less than 1 in this case. So even this one, what is actually, this is 1 by e power minus x. So we can also write it as e power x by 1 plus e power x, something like that. Okay. This is like short. We can also expand it and you'll be getting this, because uh, e power minus x is 1 by e power x. So using that 1 plus 1 by e power x, you will be getting e power x by 1 plus e power x. Okay. So take this, it will be in this format here. So this will always be less than 1. That is what we have to identify from this. So uh, even if you take minus values, okay, like minus 2 by, so like I actually assume that like if it is minus 2, it won't be less than 1. So let me do it. So it will be less than 1, but actually it won't be less than 0 here. Okay, so I actually, no, it is even greater than 1. Okay, so that's why I also assumed one thing, like our x value should be greater than, sorry, it should be like positive number. Then actually this thing works. Okay, so taking this into consideration, like, so we what we also do is like we make it e power something, okay, something like e power x value will actually be positive always. Okay, so e power x by 1 plus e power x will always be less than 1. Also, it is a positive number, so it will always be 0. Okay, so your final value will be within 0 to 1. Okay, this is what we need. So even for negative values as well, like e power something is like indirectly 2.3 something power, like minus 10, let us say, still it will be like 0 point something something, but still it is not negative. Okay, so something like this, like you will always be getting a value within 0 to 1. So instead of using this as your model structure, you will model definition, you can use this. So for and one more thing is like it's a kind of like here this classification model, what we are discussing here, we call it as logistic regression. Even though it's a classification, the name is given as regression here, so don't get confused with this. So let's go here. Okay, so this is what we are talking about. So our y value now will be always between 0 to 1. Okay, now we have achieved this. Now let's jump back to our error function. Okay, so as discussed earlier in loss function, so what did we discuss here? So our error is this, right? Let me take it. Oh, I have to bring so many things. Okay, let me write it again. So error function is like we call it like error. You can call it anything, right? Okay, error would be like y actual minus y predicted bar plus y uh, actual bar into y predicted. Okay, taking this, so what we have done is we have because like you'll be having in terms of 0 to 1, not it, so it is a binary, it's like numerical, right? So converting it into numerical, we wherever this bar is there, we put 1 minus something like this. And similarly here, right? So and apart from this, like there is one more thing what we have to discuss is, like what we have to see is, so this one, let's, instead of bar, let's write it this one. Okay, so we are actually using e power something here. Okay, so and these, let me give the final values. Okay, like when your actual is positive, means like 1, and then your y value, if it is not a 1, then it's an error, right? So just a moment. So uh, as y is equal to, so if you take this error value here, so if it is actual is 1, then predicted, if it is 1, then fine, right? If it's predicted is 0, then there is an issue, right? 0 or something. So what we do is like error here can be something like this, 1 minus y predicted into y actual, right? If you do this way, what you'll be getting is like actual, if it is 1. Okay, let's do the next also. So actual, if it is 1, okay. So one more thing, just this is a case, right? So here only, like let's do this. Okay, so here we are using e power something here, right? So finally you'll be getting a probability between like 0 to 1. So to use that, instead of directly using this, what we do is, if it is directly using it, then it is just y. So instead we will be using a log here. Okay, so in terms of log, what will change is, like earlier we used this way. So log of 1 is actually 0. When it comes to log of when it is going towards 1, like 0.9999, this value will be huge. Like at log 1 is not defined. Log 1 is 0 actually, sorry. Your log 0 is going towards infinity, like point not itself is like a very huge number. When it is is like value is 1, then it is 0, right? So your log function will actually vary like this. When your x is 1, x is 0, when it is towards 0, it will be towards infinity. And when it is coming towards 1, your value will be near to 0. Okay. So taking that into consideration, here there is a small difference. So error, you'll be taking it as log this y prediction, if you take it, okay, into y actual. So let's compute this, what is happening here. So y actual, if it is 1 and your value is 1, then into 0, error is 0, right? So fine, that is correct, right? So when your error is 1, but your prediction is 0, okay, towards 0, then it's like not 0, let's say like 0.001, log of 0.001 will be infinity, right? So your value will be very huge. It will be towards plus infinity. Okay. So this is a difference it will make. Like, so your loss function should be, instead of using it directly like this, what you'll be doing is like previous one will hold, like what I erased earlier, right? Here, like something that will hold, but we are changing our like value here y, so that our values are between 0 to 1, right? So actual error function will change like this. What it will change? Y actual log y prediction plus y, like now actual, if it is 0, then what we should be writing is in a different case, 1 minus y actual into log 1 minus y prediction. It's the just opposite way of this. Okay. So this is what we will be writing, yeah, as error function. So, and just for a case, like if your value log value is like in less than point not one, right? Log of point not this is actually will give you a negative value, like log. Sorry, this graph which I have drawn for log rate. So actually it will come like this. So for 0 to 1, these values will be negative. So what we do also do is, apart from this, like we also keep a negative sign, okay, to the whole. Okay, so this will be our error function. So do you have any doubts in this error function? Like this is quite important concept, so let's clarify it now itself. It has jumped somewhere. So are you able to understand this error function, or do I have to explain it in detail? Okay, I don't get response. So we'll do one thing. So again, take these 4 values and see what our error value would be. Okay, so this error function, so y actual, y prediction, and error. So now we have defined error. Now let's see what values would be at 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, instead of 0, because like log of 0 is undefined, so we'll be taking somewhere around like point not 1. Okay, so taking this into consideration, let's compute what will be the error. So minus of uh, like y actual is 0 into log of 0.01 plus this minus, keep it outside. So 1 minus 0 will be 1 into log of y prediction. So will be log of 1 minus 0.01. So which will be, this is 0. So 1 minus log, this is like 0.01 is 0.99. So 0.99 actually nearer to 0, but not 0, but you have some minus value. here. Okay, so something like minus so it will be zero point 0.1 or something finally what you'll be getting. Okay, so if you see this, so for 0 it has predicted almost equal to 0. Okay, so did not give 0, so instead, so your error is like if it is 0.1, log 1 is 0. Okay, so it will be almost nearer to 0, 0.0001 or something. Let's take it as zero point 0.1 only. Okay, minus is there, that's okay. So no, minus won't be there because this will be a positive value after doing it, so it will be plus 1. So similarly, when you have like 0 to 1, when it is 0 and it has predicted as 1, let's again 0 into log 1 plus 1 minus 0 into log 1 minus 1. Okay, so instead of 1, it will, let's take it as 0.99. Okay, because so what will you hear? This part is 0, so minus 1 into log 0.01. So let's take this like if this is less than 0, it will become positive. That is the case, and log of 0.01 will actually be very high value. Okay, so if you can compute, let me use a calculator. Does it have log here? No, my calculator, I have to move to scientific, then I may have log. Yeah, log is there now. So point not one. For this, I am doing log. So it's minus 2. So minus of minus, it will go to plus. Okay, it will be 2. Okay, if it is log 10, then it is 2. If it is log to the base 2, then we have to use ln here. Okay, so 10 using log 10, it's 2.3 or something. Okay, no, it's okay. So this is something, some value which you got here, 2.3. And similarly, when you it is 1, it is coming as 0. This is also a problem, right? So 1 into minus of 1 into log 0.01 plus uh, 1 minus 1 into log 1 minus 0.01. Okay, if you do this, so this part is anyway 0, 1 minus 1 is 0. So and here it is log 0.01 minus log 0.01, which will again be 2.3. Okay, and similarly, when it is like 1 into log 0.99 plus 1 minus 1 into log 1 minus 0.99 is 0.01, which you'll be getting this as 0, and this part you'll be getting minus log 0.99, which will be almost like zero point 0.1 as what I told, right? So it won't be even 0.1, it will be 0.00 or something like this. So but let's take it like this. Okay, so this is how we got. So instead earlier what we got is 0 1 1 0, but instead now because of we using this log and this thing, what we have got is, so here this is almost equal to 0 when it is nearer to this value. Okay, and when it is this way, it is having a huge value. Okay, so when this point 0 and it is detected as 0.7, still you'll be getting some value here. Okay, with these logs you'll be getting some value. That value will be greater than this value. Okay, so actually these error value is varying. It's not just 0 and 1, it is varying to an extent. Okay, something like 0.7. Let's also see only this 0.7, then we can move forward. So when it is 0, y actually is 0, y predicted is 0.7. So this is wrong, right? So then what it should be is like error should be more. So y actual into log minus of y predicted plus 1 minus 0 into log 1 minus 0.7. So this is 0. So this part minus log 0.3. So minus log zero point 0.3 as well is like some 1.7. Okay, like it will be minus before. So you'll be getting some 1.7 here. Okay, so this is the difference between those two. Okay, so this is how actually, so this is not point 0.3 actually, I calculated for 10. So it will be a 10 power 2 into 0.3, something like this. Okay, it will be 4.6. So, okay, this will be, now if you put, if it is 0 and if it is zero point 0.7, then what did we get as 1.7? Okay, so let me move this little down and then, okay. So if you see, if your difference is slow, like increasing here, like, okay, this should be before, this zero point 0.7, let me write this above and that below. When it is 0 0.7, 0.99, these values are 1.7, 4.6. Okay, if your difference is increasing between these two, if this difference, if you see it is almost less, right? So, but here it has increased more. Here it is increased even more. So, as your difference is increasing, so your error value is increasing. Okay. So, and then when it is your difference, again, like here your difference is increasing, right? So, but sorry, here difference is decreasing. Here there is way big difference, but here these are almost same. So if you see, your error value is decreasing here. Okay, coming towards one. That is how as your deviation between your y actual and y predicted is like more, then your error value will be more. Okay, that is what this loss function is actually doing. So maybe now it will be a bit clear. So now next step would be, now what did we do? We have first a kind of a checklist. We have model structure is now proper. Now it is giving between 0 to 1. So now this is fine. So second step, we have used an error function. Now this is also behaving well, like just like how we have expected, it is doing well. So the next step is just like put the learning rate and then do gradient descent. It need not be just gradient descent. There are many other ways, but gradient descent also works fine. Okay, so let's move on with gradient descent here. So what we should be doing is, for the y, like gradient descent is the same formula what we used earlier. So your theta mu will be theta volt plus, sorry, this is gradient descent, right? So we'll be having minus, so, and alpha is your learning rate, which you have to define before. So, and d by d theta whole of your error function. Okay. So, if you do this, then make an iterative process again. So, you will be getting your loss getting minimized to 0, and you will be getting theta values, new theta values. Okay. So, this is what we'll be using. And finally, you'll be, after learning your y, like what will be your y prediction? Y prediction would be y equal to, we have this theta x, right? So instead of that, what we have defined, 1 plus e power theta x. Okay, so this will be our y. So finally, we'll give a prediction based on this y. So directly, we won't be telling like it is 0 or 1 or something. We instead will be giving a probability when it can be like between 0 and 1. And maybe, so if you see, like from this, we can actually, after getting this gradient descent, we like if you remember our model structure, we have defined this formula, right? So we use the same formula with weights like what we have learned, like what are, after getting the optimal theta values, we'll be using the same like function y equal to 1 plus theta. Let me write it again. 1 plus 1 by 1 plus e power minus theta naught x. So this is what we'll be using for getting our prediction, final prediction. So that final prediction, maybe it will be in like zero point 0.1, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9, some value like this. Okay. So finally you'll be getting some value like this. So you can put a hard stop that like if it is greater than zero point 0.5, it belongs to class 1. So if it is less than zero point 0.5, it belongs to class 0, something like this. So this you can put a hard stop, or even like that will automatically put it. So, but you can also keep a threshold and give it like, we'll be seeing it in next class. Or maybe in this class itself, like what threshold should we put? Is this zero point 0.5 fine, or like should we put something else as well? So I think let's also see what is this graph like. This is also important. Like what actually is this 1 by 1 plus e power x or e power minus x? Like what this is actually doing. Okay. So what this graph would be is something like this. Your values would be something like this. Okay. So you'll be getting some graph like this, or no, there is no negative value, right? So this graph won't be, this line won't be here. Instead, this line will be, okay, can I move that line? Okay, let me draw a line. So your line would be something similar to this. Okay. So in this case, what will happen is, uh, you keep a hard stop like at 0.5. It is greater than 0.5. It will go into this. It will be like kind of positive negative, right? What we have discussed. It will be similar to this. So this is the kind of curve what you will be getting if you plot this 1 by 1 plus e power minus x for each value. So at one point, it will cross this 0.5. Let us say this is 0.5 graph. So you'll be getting this point. When will you get this 0.5 is like 1 by 1 plus 1, right? So that is when you'll be getting 0.5 here. So it means e power minus x, like what? E power minus theta x. When it is 1, you'll be getting this one, and which means e power minus x should be 0. So when your y equal to this theta and x, when it is 0, then you'll be getting this zero point 0.5. When it is less than 0, let me draw that as less than 0, you will be in this half, this side of your side where you have class 0. So, and when it comes to the other side, when you will be having on this side, here it is class 1. Okay, that is the difference. Actually, this is how we have planned earlier, right? So to do it, if you remember, what we have done is, if you go to a class, skip here. So initially we thought when it is greater than 0, we talk like positive, in the sense like class 1. If it is less than 0, negative, right? So finally, we are doing the same, but instead we are also, by doing this method, what we are getting is, we are also getting a kind of probability where exactly is it nearer to class 0, or maybe something. Let's go to the same example here. Taking this example, so if is it real nearer to your value, or is it your new value? Is it nearer to this point, or far away from this point, or nearer to this point, or far away from this point, right? So this you can actually get it from the probability. When your probability is almost one, nearer to one, right? So then your model is very sure that you're very confident that your value is in class 1, which in case if your new point is somewhere lying here, okay, so then you can be very sure that it is on class 1 side, right? So when it is here somewhere, then you can't be very sure. You can say that it is, yeah, it is in class 1, but not with a full confidence. Here you will be saying with confidence of 0.999, but here you may say only with confidence of 0.55 or something. When it is on the line, it is 0.5. So here it will be 0.4. It will be from this. So your theta, when your new point is actually, let me draw it with a different color. When it is nearer to these values, so then it is actually difficult. It won't be very confident. It will be near like very less confidence to tell if it is like of class 1 or class 0. But if it is farer like this, then it will be very confident, right? On both sides, when it is far, then it will be very confident to tell that it is 0. But if you get y value as something like 0.1, then you can be very sure that it belongs to class 0, right? Then your y value is similarly 0.9 also, you'll be very sure that it will be class 1. When your y value is something like 0.55, then you are not confident. We can say class 1 with low confidence, right? So this is how it will work. Like our model, like this confidence score is also very important because we want our model to actually say it very confidently, right? Like our value should be very confident. Like if you take the same example what we have mentioned yesterday about our rapid test for COVID-19. So if you are if there is one case, right? So even if you get negative, it's not like 100% sure that you don't have COVID. So you will again go for RT-PCR or like swab test, right? Like so for confirming. So this is a similar case where if it is coming in the negative, but you will be coming in some line here, then you are not very confident that it is true, right? So such kind of scenarios come up. So our model our best model should be a confident model as well. Okay, so this anyway is captured within this error. So in our error, when it is a 0, it is saying like point not one, which is almost 0. Then you have very low error. Okay, but when it is 0 and you are saying like 0.5 or 0.4, then you have error value, loss function value as slightly more, right? So that's the kind of penalizing your model for not being confident. Okay, so we also this not just minimizes error, it will also make, like by doing this kind of gradient descent, it will also ensure that your model is confident to classify between these two. It's because error function is like indirectly penalizing, right? So it is giving value, and like with that we are doing some kind of gradient descent in the end. So loss is actually, think it about, if you use this function and if it is doing like this, we are getting these many crores of loss or something in case if there is a wrong prediction. So then if this value is high, I mean if it is wrongly given, so it means you are penalizing with more cost, right? By penalizing, and so you are getting more loss. So think it in that sense, then it will be more relatable. Okay, so that is a scenario here. So through this, finally, we are able to solve a classification problem. But in reality, will there be only two classes? There will be like multiple classes, right? So like you can have 4 5 classes as well. So what you can do is, I'll be talking about only one method now, but when I talk about like other algorithms in classification, then I'll be talking about like multiple classes. So but we can also talk it now, but let's keep it for next further session. So in case if there is like class 0, class 1, class 2. So let's say in a kind of a problem where it is credit card, should we allot a credit card or not? It is just like should yes or no, right? So then class 0 and class 1 would be enough. But in case if you have few more classes, so then how should we proceed is like, can I get one example? Okay, so there is a picture what you are getting. So let's take this example which we already know. So there is an handwritten digit, like this is also a popular example. So just you wrote one letter 8, okay? So this is written by hand. So but finally this should be given to a model, and you should be getting, is it a 0 or 1? Means like 0 is class 0, class 1, so on, class 9. Okay, so you have these as your output model. So whatever number you wrote here, it should be able to detect and classify, is it a 0 or 1 or a 2 or 3 or so on till 9. Okay, so this is a kind of a model, let us say. So there you have multiple classes, not just 0 or 1. Then how we will be doing it? So let's take example of 3 classes. This would be very huge, not so convenient to explain. So how we will be doing is, let's say, so this will be a kind of multi-class classification. Previous one is a binary classification. Okay, so what we'll be doing is, let's plot those things. So you have crosses, you have zeros, and let's say you also have some triangles. Okay, so this is your this is the behavior of your data. So for this, how are you going to separate is, initially what you do is, you what you'll be doing is, initially you separate this. Let's say this is class 1, class 2, class 3. So what you initially do is, you separate class 1 from class 0 or 1. I wrote okay, 0, 1, 2. So class 0 from rest of the 2. Okay, so you make a model with the X. You only classify class 0 or not. Okay, similarly you can have one more model where you will be classifying class 1 or not. Similarly, you also have a model to classify class 2 or not. Okay, so and this is between class 1 or not. This is between this, and finally you also have some classification between this. Okay, so if you do this, so finally you actually are able to like, not directly, but after a kind of having two classifications like this, so you are able three models separately, then you can find out if it is a class 1 or class 2 or class 0. So if it is class 0, then what you'll be getting is, you are actually getting three outputs here: class 0, class 1, class 2. So okay, think it as, this is our bigger model where it is taking your input from input X, and then finally giving the inputs are all same, right? So let's do it like this. So okay, so and finally you are getting three outputs from your model. Okay, this is your model which contains three different models inside. So and you'll be getting class 0, class 1, class 2. So this class 0 can be like 0.9, this one can be 0.1 or 0 or something. So if it is class 0, if it is class 1, it will be like it will be like 0.01. This will be 0.85 or something. This will be zero point 0.2 or something. So something like this. So you'll be getting a different values for each of them. Okay, this is how you can still do it, but there is a way to directly do a instead of using a three different. Okay, let me talk about it now itself. So uh, where you can finally do all these things here itself by a kind like what you can do is, there is a concept called multi-label classification and multi-class. Okay, that I actually need some more time, some more background to tell it. But what we can actually do is something like this. I'll give an introduction. So previously for probability, what we have done, 1 by e power minus x minus theta naught x, right? Similarly, in case, let's say here we'll be having theta 2 and theta 3. What we'll be having is like theta 1 by, so if we are talking about only, so this we can change it as something like this, right? 1 by e power theta naught theta x. So if it is like a single class binary classification. So similarly, what we can have here is theta 1 x divided by 1 plus theta 1x plus theta 2x plus theta 3x. Okay, this is for class 0, class 1, class 2. Okay, so if you do this, your final y would be class 0. Similarly, let's take 0 only in this case, like y2. Similarly, for class 1, you will be having t power theta 1 transpose plus all the other things. Theta naught x plus theta 1 x plus theta 2 x. So similarly for class 2 as well. Okay. So this will actually help you to extend your model from single class binary classification to multi-class classification. Okay. So you'll be getting some probability which will be something like this. Okay, but if you do it separately, actually you may get like some value 0.5 here and zero point 0.5 here. So sum of all probabilities won't be equal to 1, right? So usually you will expect only one of them to be true here. So maybe some zero point 0.5 here and 0.7 here, 0.2 here. So you are not sure which one to take in this. Like maybe you can take the maximum value here, but still like you are in confusion between these two, right? So, but if you do it something like this, your final total sum will be like probability of your sum will be equal to 1. So it will be much more relevant to use like these kind of variables for multi-class classification.